Welcome back, guys, to Let's Talk with Tiff. I'm Tiffany, and I want to thank you for joining me for another episode. I also want to remind you guys to go ahead, please like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of your support. Let's get into it. So today I want to ask you guys a question. When is a friendship coming to an end? That's my question. And I know we've all felt this. At some point in our life, we've had friendship come to an end. Now, are we paying attention to what's actually going on? Because that's what I want to get into today. I know we can all relate because we have friends. Life is about relationship. That's part of it. It's a big piece of it. So knowing when a friendship is coming to an end is really important. Before we do that, let's talk about reasons why it might end. Why would a friendship end to begin with? And there's many reasons, but these are the ones that I want to go into. We know that friendship and even relationships in general, they can end because two people grow apart. They grow apart. But what does that mean, to grow apart? When you have a friendship or a relationship, people meet, they get on a life path together, right? In this life, in this season, who knows how long it will last, but we also know that we grow. Some people, we stay stagnant. We stay comfortable. That's a possibility while one stays growing. And maybe you met at a time in your life where you had common interests. You had things that you did together. People change. People change because they either are growing together or they're growing apart. That's a natural occurrence being a human. You're either going to grow with people, even down to your spouse, okay? You either grow with your spouse or you're gonna grow apart. One of the things that I do want to mention is about healing. If you're in a friendship or in a marriage, in a relationship, I don't care what you're in, any sort of relationship, and you have connection with someone, and one person takes the path of healing, and the other person is in their life just going through their motions of what they know, what they do, everything seems very comfortable to them. The person that's on the path of healing, this is where you're gonna start to notice differences. And when I say differences, the way people operate from within. Now, I've already told you guys many times, we have two operating systems. If you go down the path of healing, you are opening up this from within you. Most people, most humans, okay, this is the norm. We have our default, which is in the mind. You actually have to do work to go here and live by here in the spirit with God. Most people function from the default. So if you actually enter the path of healing, we know that we're opening the door to our spirit with God, which means we're facing truth. That's what it means. It's all leading you down a path of growth with him. So when you start going down this growth path and your friend or your loved one, your spouse, I don't know, whoever it is, they're staying stagnant in where they're at in their life, this is the beginning of growing apart. Okay, when one person faces truth and the other person stays comfortable, you've got growing apart. That's how it happens. It's that simple. So we also know another reason why a friendship may end is there could be a fight that occurs. It happens all the time. You have a disagreement, you have a fight, and now you have feelings too. And you got thoughts. They're brewing all up in here. How many of them are yours and how many of them are just being given to you by your unconscious? Do you even recognize the difference? When you get triggered, it's coming for you. So you have to have enough space from within to be able to distinguish your thought, your feeling, your sense of self from what it's giving you in order to process the fight, the disagreement, whatever it is. So do you even have that? A fight occurs, a disagreement. Do you have enough self-awareness from within to recognize what's coming up for you, from you directly, the real you from within. Can you communicate those feelings and those thoughts? And how much of it is just pure reaction that this is giving you, your mind? Because, well, like they say, it's there to protect you. It's there to protect itself, yes. And it's going to give you a solution that will make it powerful, that will justify its way and reason its way into why it's right. And if you're not careful, you will attach yourself to it, because there's no space from within to whatever it gives you. A fight can be a reason why. And I like to dive into these reasons a little bit deeper, because if I just sit here and read a list, like, there's really no good sense in that. There's no learning in that and understanding like the deeper meaning of what's really going on. So let's keep breaking it down. Another reason is that you just can't seem to meet in the middle. So maybe you get into your disagreement. You're trying to find solution, but there's just no common ground. There's no middle place to come to. Okay, that happens to people. They just can't seem to agree. So it's like, well, then it's over. Now we need to go our separate ways. So you've probably seen that happen, or maybe experienced it. You can't seem to hear one another. Okay. And this one is big, because two people are communicating their feelings, their thoughts, and what's inside of that, especially if there's a disagreement, a fight, you're not finding common ground. You're not hearing one another, you know, you're potentially growing apart. What's inside of that when two people can't hear one another? Well, two people have emotion now. And wherever there is emotion that is stimulated from the mind, everybody's unconscious. So when two people can't hear one another, pay attention to that. Your emotions are amped up. They're loud. They're aggressive. You feel like you need to be heard. Don't talk then. That's not a good time to talk. You actually should step away, do a whole lot of prayer, ask God to help you, reflect on what's coming up for you, and what is your emotion and what's just pure mind emotion, right? Because we can have hurt feelings. We can have hurt feelings and process it in our spirit and remain calm about it. Usually if you do that, you want to know what's going to happen? You're going to cry, actually. You'll probably feel your tears coming to your eyes. They're going to come down. Your body is going to react. The mind will get aggressive. It'll get angry. It wants to prove its point and get loud. Those emotions, they're coming from here. And are two people going to hear each other when they're in this energy, this state, where they're unconscious? No, they're not. Now, you can also be on two different life paths, okay? And this kind of it ties back into the growing apart. Sometimes, you guys, and I know you've heard this, people come in your life for just a season or for just a little bit, or just to trigger you, or, you know, to get you thinking, or to bring you along a path to help you find the next thing. God will use people, yes, to be in our life, and we just don't know how long they're going to be there. I pay attention today to what God is doing. I recognize very well my life path. And then I also pay attention to the people that God puts around me, having the same life path, the same type of inner growth, inner workings, where we are constantly taking our inventory. We are constantly looking at the self. We are constantly being honest. We are constantly going straight to the conversation because we need to address it. Like, I try and live by this, and I also pay attention to the relationships around me, and are they doing that? Do we share the same values, the same goals? Or have I grown? Maybe. Or have I regressed? Like, what's going on for me? And pay attention to the people around you. So you could be on a different life path. Now, here's where people maybe get emotional again, right? Because that is kind of a tough pill to swallow. If you're on a different life path, maybe your heart's in it, you love the person, they've been there, they've been in your life, but now you're on a different life path. You have to wrap your head around that, your heart around that, and that can be really hard. And that's just the truth. And you're going to go through the emotions of when it's time to let go. And I'll get into that. So here are some of the reasons that I chose to go over on why a friendship might end. Now, what do they all have in common? People grow apart, fight occurs, can't meet in the middle, can't hear one another, and you could be on a different life path. All of these things have this in common, the mind, okay? Until you reach the understanding of the truth of being put on a different life path. Now we're entering here into the spirit. So as you can see, all of these things, you guys, have the default of the mind, of the unconscious running your life. When a friendship is coming to an end and you reflect on these things, ask yourself, what's going on in your mind? How present are you for why the friendship is ending, or why the friendship, there's no connection anymore? What's leading you? If you're recognizing the different life path and your spirit's kind of like knocking on the door because it knocks from within, are you paying attention or are you pushing it down? So now I want to get into when we telling the truth, because that's really where this is all leading. Everything in life is about living in truth. So when you're telling the truth, I want to give away a little bit of a nugget here. If you're willing to sit in truth with another person that you love, because friendship leads to where our heart is, it's love, and you're willing to tell the truth, you also need to be willing to listen to the person that you're telling the truth to. When it's their time to speak, you need to be willing to listen to the person when they come from their place of truth. So we can't just get into our truth and then not be willing to listen to what theirs is. So two people have to be in the willingness, which means the spirit is involved wholeheartedly, because two people are willing to sit in the truth and also listen from a place of truth. So that's really important. Now, this is a tough reality of life, right? This is just life. Someone is going to get hurt, or possibly both. The truth, you guys, isn't easy. It's uncomfortable. It's hard. It feels like you can't do it sometimes. Actually, most of the time, until we start doing it with God and it becomes familiar to us, right? Well, when you start telling the truth, even if you do it from a place of love, I'm telling you, someone is bound to feel hurt. That's part of telling the truth. Now, when you tell truth from a place of love, you sit in it with the person, okay? If two people tell truth from a place of love, they sit together. It's okay to tell the truth, sit in the truth together, and also bring the hurt together as well. Express where you are hurt. Express where it hurts within, because otherwise we're not going anywhere. We're not actually breaking down the walls inside of us unless we sit in the truth with one another and we're willing to express and talk about why we're hurt. Do it without your mind. Pray, ask God to help you, bring the words. Help me, God, to have enough clarity. This is what I do, to express myself. That when I talk to this person, I have the right words coming out of me. Because you want to know what humans do? We screw it up. That's part of being human. And if you're going to have an honest conversation with somebody, I absolutely recommend that you don't do it unless you pray to God about it first. Always take your truth to your Creator first, okay? Because we also need to distinguish what is coming from here, right? What is self-centered and what is actually valid? What is valid and true, where your hurt is at? And God will help you when you pray and you ask for clarity and you ask for His help and Him to help you put your words together. He's going to help you understand even yourself from within. And he shifts perspective for you, with you, from within. This is not a mind thing, okay? No, we don't want to think about it there. We want to go to God, and we want to do this by praying with him and asking him for help. Now, here's a big one. You need to decide if the friendship means more to keep, no matter the differences that are addressed. Now, that's big, because you want to know something right here is that sometimes the answer is no. That's the truth, isn't it? Sometimes the differences mean more to the person than actually the friendship did. That's the truth. So it doesn't feel good, it hurts, but that's the truth. And I even had this in my life. Right before I got sober, I had a falling out with a friend. Very long relationship. We were friends. I mean, I don't know her anymore, but I mean, I've known her in my life. She was in my life for about a good 15, 16 years before we had this falling out. It was hard. And you know what? I was in the worst relapse of my life. Was I self-centered? Of course I was. I was in a relapse. That's part of addiction. That's the truth. And I was also in a lot of pain, and I was scared for my life because my relapse had gotten so out of hand. And I was also in a place with God where he was coming for me. It was about to end, my relapse. And so things were happening in my life where I was so isolated and withdrawn. This was also during 2020 with COVID. And so it was like the best, this was like the best time for a relapse, I thought, because it was like, I cannot tell my family what I'm doing. But at the same time, I also wasn't seeing my family because it was 2020 and COVID was just coming up. And so I was getting away with the worst relapse of my life because I wasn't seeing anybody. I was only talking by phone. I really wasn't coming around. None of us were, because my dad was really sick. We couldn't be around him. He had pulmonary fibrosis, and COVID was so unknown at the time. And my nephew, he also has a heart condition. And so I couldn't go there. I couldn't see my sister. And so I was very isolated to my apartment, and I was addicted. Horrible addiction. And the worst relapse you could imagine. Was COVID, was it dangerous for me because it had me so isolated? Absolutely. Yes, it was. Looking back, for sure. But I had a friend, she called me up one day and she let me know that she didn't want to be friends with me anymore because of the person that I had become. A lot of it had to do with my relapse, yes, but she got very brutally honest to the point where it hurt. It really hurt. And I have not spoken to her till this day. Will we ever talk again? I don't know. Do I pray for her? Absolutely. Do I still love her? Yes, I do. I do. I've known her a long time. I think of her till this day. Till this day, I still think of her. And I always hope that she's doing well. I don't have ill feelings against her. And if God ever brought her back to my life for a conversation, that's not really up to me. I feel it's up to God, because I've surrendered everything to him, all of my relationships included. And so if it's ever a time for her and I to cross paths again, I believe wholeheartedly it will happen. He's in control of my life. Sometimes, you guys, going back to this, you have to decide if the friendship means more to keep, no matter the differences that are being addressed. And sometimes, here's the hard truth, the answer is no. People want to go on their way, they're over it. And so they want to go. They don't want to be bothered. They're done. Like, I don't know. That's kind of the human condition. I think that humans, they get tired, you know, family gets tired, people get tired, and they'll try. It's so rare and so difficult to find a friend, or to find even sometimes family for us that will ride it out, the do or dies, the unconditional. Okay, that's really hard to find. So we all have an ugly side. We all have it. It comes up, it rears its head. And friendship and relationships with family members even, they're the ones that are going to see it. And so if you find your family members or your friendships out there, even your spouse, who knows, and they're willing to love you unconditionally, the ugly side and all, that's rare. Like, the truth is that's rare, because the human condition does not want to be inconvenienced, by the way. Okay. It wants everything very convenient for it. And so thinking about relationships, if you really think about it from a place of all spirit and heart with God, relationships, they're not convenient, okay? The good ones, the ones that have meaning and love, why are they not convenient? Because people have pain in them. They have trauma in them. They have ugly side in them. And sometimes they're gonna go there, okay? And part of being in the relationship with them is to go take on the ugly side with them. And you're just gonna love them anyway. You're gonna love them, forgive them even before it started, because you know you love them. And that's how you operate. And so when things go down and the ugly side shows up, or the whatever shows up, you already know that you're operating from a place of all your heart. You know, you've already forgiven them. So there's always gonna be a conversation to be had. There's always gonna be communication between you two, whoever it is, because you decided long ago that you were all in. And so you don't go to this place, you don't go to your mind to decide, well, I think they really did it this time. That's kind of how I operate in my life today. And so understanding that hard truth that sometimes the answer is just no. That's kind of where I'm at, you guys. And maybe that comes with maturity. In fact, spiritual maturity is emotional maturity. And when you start to grow up with God, He's with you, helping you to grow and mature spiritually. It's going to reflect in your emotions. That's why they are tied together. So I have learned through my walk with God and growing and being there with Him that my spiritual maturity has led me to sometimes understanding that the answer is no. That relationships, maybe they don't want to. Maybe, there's no conversation to be had. And now let's think about that. So why does this become spiritual to begin with? Because I've told you guys, everything in this lifetime is spiritual. Okay, it is. This universe, all of God's creation, everything is spiritual. And so when friendship, or any relationship for that matter, when it ends, this is a call for reflection. This is a call to prayer with God. Okay. Anytime you sense or you feel or it's happening, things are ending, it's wrapping up, you feel it. Like it didn't end well, didn't go well. Reflecting with God is extremely important. And why though, right? We have to sit in our reflection with our Creator, because the mind is going to tell you a million different reasons why you're right, and they did this, and they said this, and you'll replay it in your head over and over, and then you'll even think about what you should have said. Oh, it loves to do that one. Okay, but when you sit in your reflection with God, you're actually not asking any of those questions. You're not even going there for any of that, okay? You're actually sitting in the reflection with God so you can start looking at your part. God is going to help you look at you. We don't grow unless we look at our part. And if you think you're going to look at your part and reflect on yourself with your mind, you're wrong. It doesn't work that way. We have to invite God in right here, okay, to reflect upon our part. What did you say? What did you do? How were you hurtful? Everything comes back to ourselves. We cannot control other people. Don't go down that path. Don't try that. You don't want to go there. But you can look at your part, and you can take an inventory of you and be empowered by that, because that's where another spiritual mature person is going to end up. They're going to end up looking at themselves first before pointing fingers at anybody in the room. They will look at themselves. So now you want to pray to God, you guys. Pray about what hurt you the most. Pray about all of it. But I always like to go to God about what is coming up for me in my hurt the most. And sometimes it's actually like saying it again, saying it to God, what they said, going back to the situation and what happened and saying it out loud to God. Like, get it out of you. No, we know he's there. We know he's listening, but start talking and praying about it and telling God what hurt you, right? You also want to do that. You don't want to leave it trapped in you. It's not healthy. It takes roots and then it grows and then, oh God, you don't want that. Releasing to God this person, if it's ending the friendship to just like end and then it's like nobody knows what happened, right? But having this prayer time to reflect upon yourself, talking about what hurt you, and then releasing over to God this person, right? As God is working in your season, because I have learned that God works by the season. So pay attention. Like, time is not real. I don't know if you guys know that, if you realize that, but I'm telling you right now, time is not real. Man created time. God works by the season. Okay. So he's always going to have his hands all up in your season. And releasing the person, you want to turn them over to God and then take it a step further. And I've worked with people before, and this one sounded kind of crazy. I remember when I shared this with a woman that I was helping, and she had her differences and whatnot. And I told her, and she was certain that she was kind of right in where she was at, right? And we were doing a whole thing on prayer. And I was telling her the importance of praying for that person. The healing for the friend, the healing for the person on the other side of that relationship where we know it's ending. Pray for their healing and closure to the friendship, to the relationship before yours. And why do we do that? Why do we pray it for somebody else first? Get your focus off of you. Start putting your thought process, your focus, your heart on them, their healing first. And you will see God working inside of you. The insides of you will soften. This is part of the process. It happens. You don't know what God is ever doing. We don't know. And there may be the friendship is ending and then maybe they come back. We don't know what God is doing. But one thing I do know is if God is removing someone, let him remove them. And if they are meant to come back to you, he will bring them back. He will bring them back. When you surrender and turn your life over, God is in control of your relationships too. Trust him there as well. And he will make it right for you in your life. Sometimes God will take people out of our life so he can do a work in you. And now, trust him there too, because it might feel like, oh my God, what is God doing? All my friendships have changed. Like, I don't have any of the same friends. I feel so like by myself. Well, if you've surrendered, you have to trust him through those seasons too. And sometimes, yes, God will come through and he's going to clean house, because we're on a path of growth with him. And if you've turned your life over and you are living and doing God's work, anything that interferes with what he's doing and where he's taking you, they got to go. Okay. But it's not like a bad thing. That's the thing. If you process it in your mind, you can make it a real bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. Just pay attention to where God is taking you. Pay attention to the people that are in your life. Pay attention to what values you share, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you focus, the way you spend your time. How do these people have relationships in their life? Like, you got to pay attention to that. This is how I've learned to live. And when God is working by the season, you guys, and he's taking people out, maybe moving people in, you'll meet others. Sometimes you are just in full-blown the wilderness with God. Okay, full-blown separation. When those show up for you, those are your hardest seasons. They can be. But God does that with purpose too, because he's gonna have you see that he wants you to rely and depend on him. So sometimes God will remove everybody from us. So we know, we have to go to him. Like we're coming, we're on our knees, we're crying, we can't figure it out. And we're learning. We're actually growing, by the way, during those times. So these are all the things that I have learned in my life. And when friendships end for me, or God moves somebody out or brings somebody back, like, is it hard? Yeah. Is it scary? Absolutely. But I trust God so much with all of my heart today that God doesn't do things just because, right? He's not like up in the heavens, oh, I'm going to do this. No, like he has total purpose and reason. And it's more important that we are trusting him through that purpose and reason to get to the other side of what he's doing. And so that's how I live today, you guys. I truly can tell you that with all my heart. That's how I live today. And trusting God is so much easier than putting all my trust into all these things and people and places of the world, because people, places, and of the world, all these things, you guys, they're not sustainable. People are going to screw it up because they're human. And you don't want to put your heart and guard your heart. You don't want to put your heart into things of this world, into things and places and people. People are people, and they will screw it up. That's part of being human. So remember that. That's what I want to share with you guys today. And I thank you so much for joining me. I also want to remind you to please like and subscribe to my channel. I love connecting with you guys. And I do believe God and we are building a community. So I thank you so much. And I'll be back again soon. Thanks, guys.